How many dudes float like this? How many dudes float like this? In today's video, I'm gonna take you through everything you need to know about getting a home loan pre-approval, including one small thing that can mean the difference between you getting the home of your dreams and getting your home loan declined. All right, let's dive right in. Most first home buyers think the first port of call when buying a home is looking at getting a pre-approval. A pre-approval, as you'd know, is an assessment that's completed by the bank where they look at your stuff and make sure you tick all their boxes and you're gonna qualify for a loan. Something that most people don't know is that pre-approvals and the amount of verification and checks a bank does change depending on the bank that you're dealing with. So some banks will do an instant, or what we've called in other videos, a coffee shop pre-approval, where you sit down with the banker and they will literally do a pre-approval in the time it takes you to order a coffee. It's pretty much instant. They'll give you your name, hey Jayden, nice to see you, your pay details, and they'll spit out a letter that says, yep, you totally qualify and you're pre-approved for a loan up to this amount, subject to us actually looking at your pay slips, looking at your bank statements, making sure you're in a full-time or not in a casual job, and meeting the other criteria. Those types of pre-approvals are junk. They're not worth the paper they're written on, and you need to be wary of this. A couple of common ways of knowing if your pre-approval is junk is just looking at the conditions. If the list of conditions is super long and they're asking for updated pay slips and further verification and subject to credit approval, it's likely that your pre-approval is an instant or a coffee shop pre-approval. On the other hand, if the bank's taken a bit of time to process, they've asked you for your pay slips, your employment contract, your bank statements, and gone through all that information, you are more than likely in the possession of a real pre-approval. So it's important to make sure you know what kind of pre-approval you're getting before you go ahead. But in this video, we're gonna go through a couple of common pre-approval questions. So the first most common pre-approval question we get asked is, how long does a pre-approval last? Generally, a pre-approval will last between 3 to 6 months, depending on the bank. Commonwealth Bank, for example, will give you a pre-approval that's valid for up to 6 months. Westpac and ANZ Bank, or even some of the smaller banks, will do a pre-approval that only lasts for 3 months. Now, something important that has changed a bit this year is, even though they might have pre-approved you 2 or 3 months ago, most of the banks now are wanting to get updated pay slips and updated bank statements from the last 14 days to make sure that your income and your situation hasn't changed from a few months ago. The second question we usually get asked is, does a pre-approval guarantee a loan? And unfortunately, it doesn't. A pre-approval doesn't always guarantee a loan, because even if they've checked your pay slips and all your information 2 or 3 months ago, if your situation has changed today, the bank's gonna reassess and look at your current situation. The other thing most pre-approvals are subject to is a bank valuation on the property that you're looking at buying and making sure it's satisfactory. So while the bank might be stoked with your situation, happy with how much you get paid, if the property you're looking at is an area that they consider a high risk, or a type of property that the bank doesn't like lending on, they could reject your loan even after you've been pre-approved. Now, the best way to combat this is to work with your broker and just be fully transparent. Disclose all the information, let them know the situation, and they can double check that you're gonna meet all the bank's criteria before trying to move ahead and getting your loan rejected. The third question we get asked is, how long does a pre-approval take? Now, like I said before, if it's an instant pre-approval, it can literally take seconds. They'll spit it out and literally do a credit check on you, make sure your credit file looks okay, but not actually look at seeing if you're in an industry that that bank has issues with, if your pay type is something that they don't like, if you get bonuses or overtime, for example, or even double check the kind of property you're looking at buying, which could be on their naughty list. If you're going through a fully verified pre-approval, the process can generally take 2 to 3 weeks, depending on the lender and how long their delays are. Some of the pre-approval requirements, if you're going down that route, are the bank is gonna wanna see your 2 most recent pay slips, your last 3 month statements on your day-to-day account. They're gonna wanna see your savings and see if you've saved it up over time or if you're getting gifted it. And obviously, and also details of any credit cards, personal loans, and the statement, just to make sure you're keeping all those payments up to date. If you got a HEX or help debt, that's cool. They'll usually see it on your pay slips and adjust the amount you can lend based on that. They don't necessarily need to see how much you owe on the HEX debt. So the next question, what happens after my pre-approval? Well, it's pretty easy. Once you're pre-approved, you can go shopping. Now, the thing to keep in mind, like I said before, are the timeframes around the pre-approval. If they're only valid for 3 months and you're looking at buying in 6 months' time, there's absolutely no point in just getting a pre-approval for the sake of it. The bank's gonna do a credit check, it's gonna show up on your credit file, and having too many inquiries on your credit file is never a good thing. So just be careful of that. The last question we usually get asked is, what happens after my pre-approval expires? So let's say you got a pre-approval 3 months ago, time's up, pre-approval expired, and you still haven't found a property. What happens then? Well, it's really up to you. If you want to get your pre-approval updated or extended, the bank's going to want to go through the entire process again. So they're going to want your updated pay slips, your updated bank statements, your updated credit card statements, your updated liabilities, your life situation, your addresses, etc., etc. So if it's just taking a bit longer to find a place to look at buy, that's cool. It's pretty straightforward. You'll go through the process again, and if nothing's changed, you'll get an updated pre-approval and be good to go again. But again, it comes back to my earlier point. Getting a pre-approval, the most important thing is timing. If you're not likely to buy a place in the next 3 months, maybe you're looking at getting a pre-approval just before Christmas, and you know, well, actually I'm gonna be away at Christmas, we're doing family stuff, I'm not gonna be looking at properties. You might be best just leaving it for a bit, letting the dust settle, have a look around, and if you do find a place, you know you're good to go, you can make your offer, and as long as it's subject to finance, you're all sweet. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let us know what you think. Are you gonna get it pre-approved? Do you have a pre-approval? What bank? Would love to know. Let us know in the comments below. Otherwise, hit us up at huntergalloway.com.au.